Shall we play some Dune?
Nah, I've had enough now.
Okay, see you later.
Done it.
That was a short episode. No.
Don't do that to me. I need my Dune fix.
Oh. Daily Dune fix. Well, let's head on into episode 6. Barely out of the preface, and we're already in episode 6. Well done. And I'm joined as ever by the king of the beanbags, Blake Smirk.
Oh, been promoted.
King
Hello.
of beanbags promotion, yeah. And dropping crumbs everywhere from the crumbling vol-au-vents. It's Tiran and Brava. Just hands up. And just checking
My
out.
mouth is still full of vol.
Of course. I haven't got a new epithet for you yet, Brava. Oh no, hang on, I have. Whose blood is he out for this episode? Hide your kids.
Scourge of small children everywhere. Yes.
Brava Marlowe. And soon to be swanning around in a dicky bow tie and waiter's outfit, William Tarosh.
Fancy tux. That's what I get. Waiter's tux.
They still have penguin suits 20,000 years in the future. I love it.
Yeah.
I like that. It's eternal.
Yeah.
It's timeless.
Some fashions just endure beyond ken. Speaking of beyond ken, no, I can't do that segue. I balked it there. Speaking of beyond ken, no, you got to the bottom of understanding what was going on with Victor Rund last time, having had it out with his with Victoria and Venetia, finding out that essentially Victor had gone in too deep. He'd claimed to his sister that he was on missions for House Obscura in order to uncover more and get inside House Baragon. He was moonlighting as an infiltrator, naughty boy. And yet he'd ended up deep in trouble, particularly when his younger brother, young Darvo, effectively ended up becoming conscripted as a threat or a promise from Helena Kellamar, the Spymaster of House Baragon, whom we met a few episodes ago. She was very sleepy.
Well, we say met.
Yeah.
It wasn't very talkative.
Not very chatty, no. The analysis of Tiran on Anniversarian's accounts brought forth strong evidence, enduring evidence indeed, that House Baragon is financially propping up Anniversarian's minor house, crumbling under the weight of her addiction to spice. You'd successfully actioned the legal embargo against the Kanly between the two Kanly houses. Well, that's been submitted to the Imperial Judiciary. It's only 3 hours before the exhibition starts, so let's hope they do a rush job and it doesn't bounce in and out of the Supreme Court or something similar. And you'd started to learn more about the inter-house politics, the relationship between Irulan, the Contessa, and the Spymaster. And the Shadow Mapes gave Tiran a little extra to go along with his hors d'oeuvres. And it's at this point the old monitor decides the best thing to do is just turn off. Thanks, technology. So, those are the circumstances in which we find ourselves. You can hear me, but I think my video froze. Hopefully that was alright. Otherwise, I've got to edit out a lot of me going. Look at this.
It wasn't for long on mine.
I'll just leave it there.
No
I
one,
don't care.
no one will notice.
No,
You can
thanks.
Especially now we've pointed it out.
Thanks.
You can just
Yeah.
replace it with a GIF of your choosing.
No one will notice if you're frozen or you're actually speaking.
Yeah.
So, let's start off then in the scene that we had tantalised everyone with. Yet another scene with the Spymaster Veritas in his office.
Everyone's favorite Spymaster.
Everyone's favourite Spymaster, yes. Now I'm going to put in a trait for the scene. It's tense 1. That appears to be the mood in Veritas's office. You might recall last time that he seemed to be throwing the equivalent of Dune darts at a wall of images and connections between various individuals, and his mood does not seem to have improved, mainly because he's waiting for you to turn up and fill him in on what's been going on with Rund and his family, and here you are to do that. But it's tense 1, which will raise the difficulty level by 1 unless you can leverage any traits to counteract it. I will take offers.
What could cut the tension quite like an elaborate introduction, of course. He loves them.
Can we leverage?
He's
Can we
getting one
leverage
anyway, but... Sorry,
Can we
go on.
leverage the house trade of discreet for the? Because we're trying to
Yeah.
keep this from becoming
And then
a
figure it out,
embarrassment.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yes. Okay. So you can neutralise that trait. So tell me, how do you approach Veritas? He's in his office. He's got his open door policy. So the door is open.
He is slowly learning to regret. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you
On the
arrive,
way over, can we check? Oh
I believe
god, we did
have
that
a
bad.
report. Everybody think of something to say on the count of 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Go.
Bravo. So yeah, will I assume we all arrive near or at the same time, or rather than break us all up, we conveniently get there near the same time?
You can all be there.
Tiran and
I reckon when
and Blake are already
and-
there.
me and Brava, when we got back, would have gone straight to you guys and
We'd show up with you
Found you
first,
on
probably,
your
and
way.
then the 4 of us together come to. That makes
told
sense.
you what we'd found.
I think we met
Yeah.
already straight off the Ornithopter because I was sick of watching Mentats calculate things, and I told you that Veritas had a stick up his ass. That sticks in my mind. So I think we're definitely all together.
let's go see if it's still there, because we're gonna need to report to him. Yes.
So you can catch up on the way.
Yeah.
I was going to say is, you know how a video of Brava, like, humiliating a duelist got put onto whatever the equivalent of the internet was?
No, we don't.
Can we
know
have
what
a s-
happened. That's what we want to figure out.
Yeah, I know we don't know how it happened, but
I know what you mean.
maybe we should have a scan of it on the way there to see if there's a video of you threatening a child going around.
Yeah, I did think that as well.
Just like a
Well,
quick
I
scan.
won't
Search on
mention that at
tags.
all, but if me and Brava get back and you two are like, guess what we've just seen a video of on the internet.
Oh, that's right, I wouldn't know about that, would I?
I'll take
My
a
bad.
D0 understand roll
From who?
from anybody who wants to do just that. Scan the sort of media broadcast
Absolutely.
communication system.
We all do our own?
Not
We
me,
assist?
thanks. Impossible.
If you wanted to do it
Really
individually,
assist, I suppose.
but really lean
Yeah,
into the
just do
team
what you
flavour.
know.
Did we let I can take it. I can take it because I'm the understand.
That's probably the best.
I'm the most understanding of us.
You lean into
fair.
that as your strength for sure.
Sure, I'll do that. So we're gonna look for any leaks of our recent activities since the leak of the duel.
Check the trending
Search
hashtags.
House Obscura bully and just like search trending. Like, I don't know. Like
I feel like truth works because truth is more powerful than any weapon, and we're looking for people trying to use the truth as a weapon against us.
Yeah. That sounds good.
Truth. And submit. How many dice? We're just going to make this a standard submit. Using a focus. Let's see. No, none of my focuses apply here.
and at this point we don't have any momentum. Is that correct?
Momentumless.
All out. All out. We've got. Well,
Now, let's see how this roll does.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the other thing I'd like to do is I'm going to trot out our friend passive scrutiny, which allows me to ask a question for free, which allows us to retain some momentum.
Ooh. I get that too.
When you
I guess
enter
this
a scene-
is if I enter a scene. So are we considering the internet search a scene, or is it part of the Veritas scene?
Hell, we tried to start a scene, but we ended up in the corridor. So this is the beginning of the scene. It's on the way there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I'll use it now then.
Mm.
And so that's our question is: has anything else about us leaked since that video?
Well, I mean, you've done an understand, and that's going to get you an answer before you engage a passive scrutiny. And passive scrutiny, I remember now anyway, is like it's got to be about the scene.
Something we're observing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
maybe is Veritas agitated when we get there, or is he like pacing in his room, or is he yelling on the other side of the door, or something
Or you
with that
might
kind of
want,
detail?
or you might want to go deeper based on what I'm about to say. So you scan, maybe you're in, you duck into your office before you get to the Spymaster's, because it is adjacent. It does have an interlocking door, which is shut at the moment. You just duck in and you scan through what's currently active, sort of on the Ektasi network, which I imagine, given that you're a pleasure planet, and is very, it's very significant within the constraints of technology at Dune at this time. But this is a I don't know what sort of equivalent network it would be. I don't know. Is it ESPN? What kind of leisure networks could be there? But it's a very significant. There's a lot to sort of like get through. But your first sweep is that there are no leaks of your recent activity. Your duel encounter is enjoying reruns, but at the moment, there's nothing else currently in the public domain about things that you've been up to in House Obscura.
Satisfied with that, and our 2 momentum.
Now you can nip next door.
Is his
if you wish.
Is his door open?
The intervening door isn't, but it's just a matter of going out into the corridor and around, and
Let's do the going around.
Yeah, the formal entrance is open, as is his famous sort of like policy.
As Regal explained how annoyed he was, I appeared through the interconnecting door, surprisingly. So I don't want to get a Dune dart in my face.
There is still a level of tension when you enter the office, but you've negated that trait with being sort of like discreet. So, he observes you sort of like entering, and he has a sort of one of those holoprojectors, which he turns off as you come in, and he just invites you to. Before he interrupts you before you can announce anyone, Blake. Close the door too, please, Smirk.
I'll let him have this one since he's pissed off. Shut the door.
I was kind of expecting to see you, and his eyes fall immediately to William and Sergeant Marlowe. There's a little eagerness in his gaze, so he waits expectantly.
I'll just walk straight up to him and give him the evidence that we got from Victoria.
And you have evidence of some kind, concrete, tangible evidence of Victor effectively...
Victor being flipped, yeah.
Yeah, being flipped. What do you think that would be?
Well, something that she's got to have handed over. I mean, is it
maybe a pay stub?
Is it like a book or a recording? Another recordings flying all over the place. Is it something that it's like that?
I like Tiran's suggestion. It is. It's an official pay stub. It's that
paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this paycheck from House Baragon, which lists him as a member of House Baragon's staff, and he looks at it and he tosses it to one side on his desk in disdain, disgust. So it's true then.
Yeah, there's also the photo that we saw in there of like Baragon's, what was it, like a graduation parade or something?
Yeah.
With Victor in there and Davo in there and Helena Kellemer in there.
How did this happen? Do we know?
Do we know?
From Victoria's story, her story was that effectively she said that Victor had told her that he had been running missions for House Baragon, for House Obscura.
Moonlighting.
Yeah, no, for House Obscura, trying to win their confidence, and as a way of getting information out of them. He'd been trying to do your job effectively, and had been taking more and more risks to make this successful. And she said that Helena had basically turned up one day at her place and threatened to take down the whole Rund family, threatened her daughter, said that, they had Victor over a barrel, and that unless she gave House Baragon Davo to enter into their military, she would, wipe the floor clean of the house. And so Davo ended up joining the military, effectively became conscripted, in a manner of speaking.
And wasn't this about the exact same time that Barrigan started dealings with the person whose house we went in? Yeah, Viserion.
Yeah, absolutely. Same time frame, and it fits the time frame of things getting fruity in the accounts of Anniversarian as well.
So Barrigan's starting to like spread themselves out and at the same time take over like the, you know, like get ingratiated with other houses and stuff.
Quite
And
so.
applying leverage to those other houses as well. Yeah, trying to make a move.
And yeah.
Did in that time, do we know, like Veritas would of course know, but Victor wouldn't have told us lot. Did he actually get any information? Was all this past few months he says he's been working on getting information?
You can ask Veritas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do ask him.
Yeah, but you know, Veritas, who pauses for a moment to take his dress uniform off the Shadow Mapes, who appears, hands it to him, and then leaves. Hangs it up on. He has a wardrobe in his office that looks like a bookshelf. He just slides it apart and hangs it up, and he says, any information that Victor might have got out of House Barragan didn't enter this office.
Right, okay. So he also hasn't passed any of that on to me.
All this is concerning, nevertheless, we have to put it on hold for the moment, I think, and turn our attentions towards this evening, he says, sort of looking at his dress uniform and grimacing slightly because of the amount of brocade, all the insignia, is there anything you need to make sure things run smoothly? Have we heard yet about the state of the Act of Omissia?
We were hoping you would tell us.
It's currently with the courts. Or the appropriate Farfalluch's committee.
It's got
The Landsrat are notoriously slow to act, so this ought to be interesting. Yeah.
cutting it fine.
I have an asset that I might be able to use, but I don't know if this is any better than Veritas being able to do something. Prince Augustus Bertrude owes me a favour.
Over favour, yeah. Owes me a behaviour.
Yeah,
Maybe
not
he
a
can do
behaviour.
bad behaviour if you want. Sure. Yeah, you do have that leverage over him. Yeah, that.
So I wonder if he could. Try that again. There you go.
Oh, that's
I wonder if he could, like, him asking about it to hurry up because he's the prince of our house, would actually, like, you know, but I do sort of wonder if, like, because Veritas is who he is and does what he does, that it might not actually be any better off than.
The request already came from the Contessa herself, if I recall.
Right.
Veritas bumped it up to the Contessa, who had to sign off on it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess she's a tier above Bertrude.
Yeah, Bertrude.
Yes, I mean, if you prefer that idea, then Veritas will
No.
weigh in on it. Okay. So you just
No, it's
toy
cool. I
with
just
those
think if there
thoughts.
was a way to hurry it up so we knew. It was
It's good
happening,
though to
then
have
cool,
that
but
in
if
our
not-
back pocket in case we do need another
Yeah.
favor. In case, yeah.
Now we've just entered the scene here. So Tiran, did you want to kick in that passive scrutiny? You do have the option to obtain information without having to spend any momentum.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Veritas would tell us things that we needed to know.
Yeah, fair.
Because I feel like if we don't, like, we're going to want to head over to the event space and be there first, especially for the arrival of the Emperor, arrival for all the honored guests. We need to get cracking on this.
There's nothing else I don't think there's anything like
Unless
I just need
100%, yeah.
Yeah, I can just report in on what we found in the data, and that the stick it's the remaining data on the stick is currently locked.
Give me the bottom line of it then, please.
Right? Yeah, so it's a couple years of increasing spending on spice addiction from Anniversarian that House Berrigan was trying to doctor records to make look innocent. And in addition, they were also trying to doctor records to make look innocent massive influxes of cash from Berrigan to prop up the Viserion house because of the amount of money that was disappearing into the spice habit. That happened in the last couple months. And this coincided with Anniversarian then using that money to buy lots of shopping and buy lots of assets in the Berrigan areas of the planet. And the stick, the other areas of the stick are now frozen, are now locked, and would require extensive work to access.
They're locked.
There is a complication on my roll.
Is that what you just said to him? There's a complication on my roll, sir. Very prosaic.
No, I was just, if you remember why they're locked.
Oh no, I remembered. I was role-playing. I was deep in character there.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I was so
I
deep
love it.
into the character.
Do say that to him.
Yeah, do say that.
No
There's a complication on my 2d20 rolls, sir.
What a 20, sir.
The complication was...
Unfortunately, I tripped a failsafe while I was doing my analysis.
Yeah, he raises an eyebrow a tiny amount, just a fraction, and brings it back down again. Is it possible the pressure of this situation is influencing you unduly, Garde?
I don't believe so.
Noted. Well, what would your recommendations be, based on the information that you have at hand now?
We'll have to perform further investigation of what Berrigan is up to, and we're unlikely to meet any success in that direction between now and the exhibition.
He goes over to the side of his desk where there's a couple of knives sticking out of it, grabs one and throws it at the wall, and it jitters into the portrait, a photograph of the Marchioness of House Berrigan, and sort of like jitters there. I think if we pull some strings we can invite another guest, don't you? And he looks at you all to see if you agree with him.
Of course we agree with him.
It's a daring ploy, but
It's also very
it'd be a very fruitful one.
Sure.
What we will need to do is obscure this invitation from our major house colleagues. They obviously, Abstentia, are following this event very closely. Perhaps there was a mistake in sending out the guest list. A minor member of the house entrusted with this duty sent the wrong version. And the invitation to House Barragan got a little delayed. Humble apologies. Delivered in person. Who would you select to deliver to House Barragan a last-minute invitation to their ruler, who might be put out that they weren't originally invited?
Assuming that we have time to get there and back to the exhibition and fulfill our duties, I'd recommend our intrepid envoy.
I've done something to upset you, Mentat Karadu.
I second his nomination. You're
I
the
would not
perfect man
wish
for the job,
this on anyone, but
Anyone
I cannot
else.
think of anyone better to navigate these waters. Envoy, if you'd like, I will have a detachment of security go with you.
I don't know, I think I'd feel more comfortable with the bodyguard with me, Sergeant Brava.
Very well, if you wish. We should leave with all haste then.
May I ask, as I have trouble with my understanding of many things, why are we inviting House Barragan to our exhibition with the Emperor? Uh-oh.
It's an opportunity to put them in a situation where we can observe their behaviour under pressure, see who they talk to, who they don't talk to. If House Barragan has been ingratiating themselves in some way through Anna Vasarian, I wonder how they're going to react when she doesn't turn up to the biggest event of the year on Ektasi. There's opportunities to read and gauge them, and maybe put some pressure on them, find out more. Bring your enemies closer. That's what I say. Yeah.
Alright, let's do it. I shall trust that your understanding is better than mine of this situation.
He takes out the dagger, and he brings over the portrait that he stabbed through it. Now, and he brings the portrait underneath because he missed and hit the wrong one. This is your target. And he brings out the undamaged photograph of Baron Patrix de Luminix.
Oh boy, you can spell that one for me later.
I will, and I will. It's a lot of X's. I'm staying away from V's. I'm sworn off them. And he cuts the figure of the very dashing sort of military man. There's an awful lot of brocade and an elegant looking sort of more ceremonial sort of like sword. Beautiful, the bright blue uniform and the sort of rampant sort of like heraldry. It's all very fleshy looking, and he sort of like hands it over towards you. The photograph that he damaged is of the Marchioness of House Obscura. This is Marchioness Hieronyma Bosch, he says. She is invited already. Of course. Now,
of course,
it is going to be interesting to see what House Obscura knows about the minor House Barragan when the Baron turns up, as far as they know, uninvited. So there's a lot of opportunity in having them interact with each other, as well as other members of the court. If Barragan is attempting to wheedle its way in the court, it'll be interesting to see who they avoid talking to deliberately and who they choose to speak to within the court. So, go and pay a visit to the Baron. Take the good sergeant with you. He looks around.
I'm assuming when House Abstentia gets furious that Barragan's been invited to this party, you're happy to take the blame for the erroneous invite?
Oh, I will be sad to let go of a member of staff, but there are always opportunities.
We'll find
to
someone
hire
appropriate
others.
to blame. We'll find
As
someone
long as
appropriate
it's-
to take the fall. Yeah.
As long as it's me, I feel like I'm going out on a limb here.
You're undertaking an important piece of communication. I believe that's entirely within your bailiwick. But bear in mind the arrangement I put in place for you and what that's worth.
Of course. Well, we better be getting on, hadn't we?
So,
By your leave then. Let's go.
We have been Infiltrator Turosh, Sergeant Marlowe, Mantek Corrado, and I've been Blake Smirk. Good night.
An outro.
I didn't get-
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
You didn't get an intro. Well played. Well played. So we'll head down to the speed ornithopter. Is this something we can do like on the fly? This is fairly quick.
On the fly. I like
we'll
it.
do it literally
Yeah.
on the fly.
I
Yes.
saw it as I was saying it. I was like, oh, that's going to be a terrible pun. Yeah.
You know when I said earlier as we were preparing this game that we'll have one scene and then straight into the art gallery scene? Well, bullshit.
I don't recall anything like that. I didn't recall that.
No.
Here's another
I
one.
believe you when you said
It's
it.
it's almost never.
Who
like
brung that up? Mr. GM.
Yeah, that was me. You have to go with how events unfold. This is why it's 5 sessions in with the preface still hanging over us.
Should we all go? Does it look better if we have like a full delegation?
Plus, I don't have to do a split scene, so yes, please.
All right.
I was trying to.
I've got to fly there.
That was in the back of my mind, and I was trying to keep it like in game world. So
Yeah, it very much works out. Yes, I mean,
All right. Speed round.
so who's flying the ornithopter?
I will, and if the
My move's
sergeant
pretty
will
decent.
help
Oh
me
yeah,
out.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help
Right.
you
If you
out,
want
yeah.
to, you can fly it this time. I'll help you.
It's fine. It's totally fine. Your move is probably better than mine, so.
Okay, you're carrying one momentum over from the previous scene in Veritas's office, and I want to give you a D1 check to fly the ornithopter. I would make it a D0, but it's always a bit tense flying over the territory of House Berrigan because you know they're just so aggressive. You know, there's the flight zones are demarcated. You know, there's a no-fly zone. There's a there's a corridor that you have to fly down. There's always other craft patrolling. So it's a D1 to fly safely to House Berrigan, but it gives you a chance to build some more momentum for this scene.
And I'll assist
Yeah.
if you like, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I can't do this as a stealth, because we're having to go through all this sort of security and
It's
stuff.
very unstealth, I'm afraid.
All right then. So I'm gonna do.
A little out of your comfort zone, but we'll make sure.
It's fine. It's just because I don't get that free dice for it, but it's cool. I'll buy one. So I'll use my move. I'll do it swift as a focus because we're on a mission. I'll use my. Let's have a look. I guess power comes at a knife edge because we want to get there and get this sorted out quick and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
See what happens. Use 2 dice.
Mhm.
I'll spend that 1 momentum for 1 more dice and hope that we get
Yeah,
Odds are
back some
better.
more.
Yeah, I think it,
some momentum
You got
with
to
it.
focus, yeah.
Yeah, I got to focus. Swift, come on, it's on a mission.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There we
nicely
go.
done.
Nice.
And I get an assist from the sergeant.
You do.
Hell yeah.
One more.
Brilliant. One.
Nice.
two,
There's some
four, so we get
momentum
4.
built up because you've only got 2
Yes.
hours before this exhibition, and you know
There's
you
an
have-
exhibition.
there's an exhibition. It's your catchphrase.
Is that today? Oh, oh my goodness. Is that today?
Okay, so yeah, claw back that. Yeah, take that momentum nicely. So you know. You have to put through the usual, you have to go through the usual hoops, sort of, lots of security clearance, sort of like stuff, and being ordered to a specific sort of like flight pad. When you fly over House Baragon, I imagine what you see is a large military complex, that there would be training grounds, parade grounds, troops, and all kinds of serious sort of like hardware lumbering around, warehouses and barracks, and then this squat ugly house slam back slam in the middle of it, and from the moment you touch down and the wings of the ornithopter go into their passive sort of like position and slide back, and the window doors sort of like pop up in the way that they do, and there is a there is a small contingent of Baragon NCOs waiting to escort you across the
I
tarmac.
keep my eye on them in case any of them is Davo. Every soldier, I'm like, is that which one's watching out for him?
Oh, that's a good.
Yeah, I mean you see an awful lot of troops, because what Baragon does is it supplies military hardware, but military manpower, and it trains soldiers, and it's also a poetic art house as well, but it's all about the art of warfare. It's all very heavy sort of like stuff, I imagine.
Martial arts.
Martial arts, yeah. Absolutely. There probably would be quite a bit of applied martial arts sort of like going on and sort of like around you. But yeah, do you want to have a sort of scan about what can we use as a perception test? Skill wise, let's find a character sheet that would be helpful.
Understand.
I was going to say this is. Yeah, this seems to be an understands real house.
Does everyone else know what Davo looks like?
I do only from the photograph. I don't think I've ever met him, but
I don't think others do.
No.
You know him enough, and Brava does because of the photo.
look for Victor, only smaller. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yes,
Look
can
for
do
the-
that.
Look for the shit-eating grin.
The mini,
I love
yeah,
that.
the mini Victor, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll just do understand,
Yeah.
and I will use my. I mean, again, I'm tempted to use my justice, although it's a terrible number. I have no patience for those who complain that life's unfair, because I'm just thinking about Victoria whinging on about.
Is this
Or
something that that Corrado could use passive scrutiny on?
oh,
Yeah, and also don't you have another ability that means that you can leverage understand as well? I seem to remember that one. Yeah. Have a little look through your talents card and see.
Yeah.
Could help you with is what I'm seeing. Like, something we can,
yeah.
The
we
past
showed
the
him
thing
a
is, like,
photograph.
if you have the photograph.
I don't have the
Like-
photo from the house, but
No.
I mean, I must have a photo of like.
I'll do a quick
I must
sketch.
have
Here,
it.
he looks like.
Yeah, this is what it looks like. Pull out sketchbook. Yeah, but never mind. I mean, it's a really long shot anyway. I'm just kind
It
of
is a bit of a
scanning
long shot,
all
yeah.
the soldiers as we're walking around. And also, what am I going to do if I see him? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, passive scrutiny
Not
is once per scene, so I don't know if I'd want to use it in that
Yeah, just
circumstance
keep it,
anyways.
it'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Fair call.
Makes sense.
So I'll just use understand. I'll use my justice, which is terrible.
This is
And what's-
D3 difficulty.
Oh my gosh.
Fair enough.
Awesome.
And I'll use a focus of observe because I'm actually like looking out, observing. Seems to make sense.
Yeah, no, that entirely makes sense. As you're under tight guard and you're marching through, soldiers going through their drills and moving heavy equipment, and there's large pieces of hardware sort of like rumbling in the way. Have a crack.
Is there a way of using my personality trait of infiltrator? As in, like, looking out for somebody else who's in a...
Who looks uncomfortable and out of place slightly, but trying to fit in?
Yeah.
What you do
Not
every
us.
day?
I mean the other.
I know you mean. Yeah, you can reduce it down to challenging by leveraging that trait. Yeah,
Alright. So a D2.
that's D2. Yeah.
Use focus of observe. Yeah, let's try it. Why not? No, but never mind. I'll just keep scanning out for people. No complications though, that's good.
At least it wasn't a complicated. Exactly. I was like,
No, I mean, and you
Yeah,
see plenty
just,
of raw recruits as well. There seems to be a fresh intake of military cadets, and you sort of like scan over them, and they all look the same. Their uniforms slightly too starched, their faces gleaming, and they all look like they are trying to fit in, and
Could be.
yeah,
They could
any
all be
one
Darvo.
of them could be
Yeah, fair
Darvo.
There he is. Oh no. There is. Oh no.
You do have some mistaken moments where you think you see
Yeah.
them, but then you look at them closer and they're just a little too chubby or a little too... Yeah. And you were
Alright, fair enough.
brought into, through the outer compound and into the central compound, through security gates and security checks, and eventually into the lobby, which I imagine for House Barragan, Well, what do you think House Barragan's inner house would look like? You've kind of got a flavour of this house, but what do you think the lobby? Describe to me a lobby of House Barragan.
Very square.
Brutalist architecture.
Brutalist, yeah.
yeah, very
Military
Spartan. Yeah, very. If there are decorations there of military quotes or their past leaders,
Yeah.
maybe
Busts of people. Busts
Bust of
stern
former
looking
generals.
people. Busts of
Always
very
looking.
stern people.
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, they
It's a
they are
s-
smiling. That's how they look.
It's like it's like if the Cold War had never stopped and the Soviet era had crashed into Dune, I guess, harsh brutalism, like you say, concrete grey, the decorations that are there in this lobby are, some of them are trophies of past vanquishments, others are statues of great military leaders who look as if they really were very unhappy indeed.
Can there also be a large sculpture of a fist?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Massive. Sort of Anthony Gormley style. He creates these very large sculptures. Yeah, it dominates the entire lobby. And the contingent of guards peel off just as a tall, thin woman in the same uniform but without all the brocade, just sort of like slimmed down because it's inside the house, strides over echoing footsteps. This lobby is cavernous, and she regards you with ill-disguised disdain, because House Barragan is always unpleasant towards you. They're not not your best chums, and they look over you as if to say, "Why are you here?" Doesn't say
Well, I'll
anything.
tell them. I'll introduce everybody. Of course.
How do you introduce your fellow colleagues?
With very well, thank you. So,
I demand more detail.
Envoy Smirk, Sergeant Marlowe, Mentat Corrado. What do you want to be, Nick? Today?
I think I get generally vaguely called an assistant of some kind. Porter. I'll just be the porter. The pilot. I'll just call me the pilot for now.
Yeah, Pilot Turosh. And who is it I'm inviting again? You didn't give me the spelling, so I don't have it written down.
You are inviting the Baron Patrix de Luminix. I'll chuck it in the chat for you.
A message of some import, yes.
And you do have a hastily thrown together, but nonetheless beautiful, embossed invitation for the Baron, with a personal note of apology from the Countess.
I imagine that Veritas has several of those that are sort of blank. You can just fill in the, they're kind of pre-made.
You saw him sign the Countess's name perfectly.
Oh, that's suspicious.
It's his job. This woman.
Is this Patrick's de Luminix? No, in front of us.
God no, she's just she's the equivalent of you.
Oh no.
She got a bigger clock.
Who did?
More like the anti-smirk.
The anti-smirk. Oh.
Brown.
Anyway, we bring an invitation for the Baron de Luminix.
She takes it formally, which involves clacking her heels together and doing a short nod, which is a bit disturbing, as she reaches out to take it.
Yeah, I join in.
Okay. She sort of. Do you let go of the invitation and hand it to her?
Our orders were to invite the Baron.
Oh, fine. No, then in that case, because the sergeant told me not to.
Well, she has her fingers on it, but you don't let go.
Just hold it.
You just hold it.
Yeah, this has got very.
It's got awkward.
Say, are you the Baron?
This is customary.
Sorry,
Yeah. I'm afraid this is just for the Baron de Luminix. I've been ordered to give it straight to him and no one else.
I see. I will inform the Baron that you are here, and you have. This looks like an invitation of some sort. Am I right?
Yes, it's an invitation of some sort.
She eyes you with ill-disguised disdain too, and invites you to enjoy the austerity of the foyer as she departs to go and send this message to the Baron. It's at this point where your eyes are starting to accommodate to the gloom that you see that there are soldiers stationed in alcoves around the perimeter of the foyer.
Eating arrangements?
Eating arrangements, did you say?
Eating.
I think he's looking for a beanbag. I think is what
I'm not
happening.
necessarily looking for a beanbag, just a chair.
You find semicircular stone benches arranged around the fist statue.
Right, I'll take one of the fist benches for sure.
Fist benches. I regret everything.
And just
keep
like
an
that,
eye out.
we invented fist benches.
And I'll keep an eye out for the brandy and cigar as well.
Well, you're going to be for a long lookout because there are no such, there's no sense of comfort, sort of like here, clearly. And you just find yourself waiting and waiting and waiting.
I up all the other soldiers that are around the perimeter and see if any of them are down with. walk around.
Going around like it's an exhibition.
Listen,
Brava
you
is
had
actually
your
going to
role
be
in your
the
chance,
most- yeah.
and you will, you won't see Darvo here.
I check anyway.
And you do see,
Brava
okay.
here? Yeah, sorry.
That's right.
Sorry, I want to jump in. Brava is literally lying down on one of the benches. He is the most relaxed you've ever seen him. He's like, couldn't care less about their nonsense. He just literally, like, he knows he's in for a wait, and he just lies down and closes his eyes on, like, flat on a bench.
Situation.
It's an interminably long wait. You might notice that the time clock is moving.
It's alright. I think we could like use that if they do come back to our advantage and just be like, well, we've got you've very little time. We understand that you probably can't make it on such short notice. Never mind. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully, just put them off.
Yeah, I'll call for an aid loudly.
Veritas does want him there, right? From an observation.
Yeah, he
standpoint.
does.
I know, but
I like to think that
Veritas
on
wants
the
him there, they won't go.
Oh well,
I
yeah.
like to think that on the way over, I suggested just throwing the invitation into the ocean and saying that, pretending that they said
Yeah.
no,
Couldn't come.
because I didn't want to do this either.
Yeah.
But yeah, after a slice of pie, I'd like to summon an aid to the best of my ability, to go and chase them up.
Well, in this sort of cavernous foyer brutalist space, you do occasionally observe people tracking out of one entrance or another and crossing like the corner of the foyer. The guards just stand there to attention in the alcoves. No one comes near you, and calling out for anyone doesn't bring anyone closer as time grinds on.
So leave it. That's their chance.
Yes, so
I'll say that fair loud enough for the hidden cameras to pick up and the little soldiers to pick up.
also, when I said I
Well,
wanted to summon an aid, I might go and get in front of one that's trying to slip through it to try and stop
Yeah.
them.
You boy.
You are going
And
to
if
have
that's
to do
not,
that.
if I'm not big enough, I can put Brava in front of them.
You are
He's
going,
a good door
yeah.
blocker.
That's exactly what you're going to have to do if you want to get any attention around here. So you have to go over to, sort of like one of the nearest doorways where there is a guard stood there. As you approach, the guard shifts, his weapon into a slightly more aggressive posture, and then
Don't be ridiculous.
It does. The door opens. The door opens, and he just sort of like maybe sort of like shifts it over his shoulder. He's not sticking out in front of him, but he does kind of like react. The door opens as you approach, and clearly someone in house livery, from the colour. You don't know who they are from Adam, is just coming through at the same time. The door shuts and you're virtually nose to nose as they come out, and they look disgusted that you're there. They look you up and down, gauge the scene.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'm in a place to block an easy slip through a door. And, you! Who are you?
I'm insert random
trying-
NPC name. They say.
Just title will do, that's fine.
I'm Housekeeper Randolph. They say.
Housekeeper Randolph, I'm Envoy Smirk from House Obscura, and we have been waiting an indeterminably long amount of time.
He looks really baffled, like why you're talking to him about it. He's just here to replenish the towels. I'm very sorry to hear that. And then he doesn't know what to do. He just clams up. His mouth is dry. He's holding packages of towels, presumably. Something.
Yeah, I'm aiming to get through a force of personality, I guess. Right. Your betters in this place seem to have miscalculated the importance of the opportunity we brought them, so I suggest you get the attention of one of them and get them here very soon, or else we're going to be leaving. And I've got your name now. I can let them know who's prevented them from taking this opportunity with their incompetence today.
I feel browbeaten as an NPC. Do you want to do a communicate? Maybe with. Do you have intimidate? I don't know as a focus, but it feels like
I've got
that.
Persuasion.
Persuasion.
And diplomacy.
Talent. Yeah, do you have that talent, subtle words, where you can impart a trait on someone? Is that?
Do I
is that
heck
what this
have
is?
subtle words? No. Okay, so... Well, that's a duty.
I feel browbeaten, and I was just next to him. I was like, wow,
I mean, the only thing acting against you is that you're in unfamiliar territory too. No
Yeah,
one's beholden to
I am
you.
Unflappable.
But you're unflappable.
You cannot flap me, GM.
Alright. Well, we'll take the unfamiliar territory 2 and reduce it by 1. The difficulty rating is only going to be 1, however.
Okay. So how do you get more dice? Is that just momentum and determination, that stuff? That's not the statements. I'm always like this on the first roll.
It's alright, you can
get an automatic crit.
Yeah, determination, if you burn it, gives you an automatic crit. I think that might be overkill, but that's me personally.
Okay, maybe I'll just use a momentum.
Yeah, spend momentum, 1 will give you an extra dice, or give me threat. I don't think you want to do that.
Not really.
You've got plenty.
I haven't.
I'll go with
enough.
1, so I've got 3 dice. Using focus, so we went with yes with that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Ooh, get in.
Not
Bloody hell, go
bad.
on. Go on.
Very nice. Okay, so it was difficulty 1. So, I mean...
Yeah, it's
Free
like bully
momentum.
their servants.
Dude.
You do. You know,
Maximum.
you could pull in that bonus momentum that you've earned.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's
This is all to the
How many
good.
do I put in?
Should be on 6 now.
6.
Yeah.
Full up.
There we go.
Nice.
Outstanding. Going into the party with.
Yeah, you need...
Well, we're not there
this.
yet.
You ain't far from
We're
it.
not there yet.
Yeah, we're
The-
not far.
I think in his haste to A, get out of your sight, and B, do what you said to do, he kind of drops a few of his packages, and he starts to pick them up, and then he sees the look on your face and thinks better of it, and just heads off immediately across the foyer to another doorway. The same one actually that the front of house went through, just leaving this one of his packages that he was carrying sort of like behind him, and the soldier goes back to being at ease.
I'm going to try to get Tarash's attention discreetly. I'm going to
I totally see
cough.
that.
I'm going to cough a bit.
Sidle up to wherever you are. Right next to the giant statue, we're looking up at it.
But yeah, we're going to look up at the fist, and I'm going to mention, I think there's any way you could grab that package the fellow dropped.
Oh, I'm sure I could do that.
Gonna nick Barragan's towels.
I mean, it might be dirty. It might be dirty towels, but it might be something.
Sure. I'll totally try that.
And then we could
So
show
if,
them at the exhibition and air their dirty laundry in front of everyone.
Yeah, yeah. Be careful. So I'll go up to the lad who dropped all the stuff, and I'll be like, "Oh, let me help you," and I'll pick some up and help him put them back in his hands. But while I do it, I'll stick something in the pocket if there's a little package.
Yeah, do you want to do a move, stealth? I'm probably overdoing the rolls here, but it's fun.
I mean, sure, I'll do a stealth move.
Yeah.
What's the difficulty?
While this happens, Smirk hasn't shut up. He's just moved on to the next person.
The guard now is getting.
He's decided to just keep talking until someone's. Yeah, everyone's getting told off in the room, as soon as they're all there. They can't go anywhere.
This is of average
Active
difficulty. So D1.
Is that D1?
Yeah.
D1, okay.
I'm just reminding myself of how rolls work.
Yeah. So I'll use move. I'll use I guess I might use duty because it is like no sacrifice is too great in the service of my house. Like we might get busted for stealing, the
Sure.
laundry or whatever it is, but
It's worth it.
if it is something good, yeah. So I'll use my duty, move. I got a freebie first dice for my subtle step,
Nice.
and then I'll use a focus of stealth.
Yes.
Okay, 2. Brilliant.
Whatever it is that's in this
one
package,
extra momentum.
it's yours. You've
Yeah.
got an extra momentum that you can't do much with unless you
Which
want to
I've
spend
gotta
it now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I think.
You can put it towards an asset or obtain information.
I mean, I could use it as to obtain information to see what the package is actually. Can I
You could.
even just to get a feel of it or something? So I have some idea what it is. Is it a bag of dirty pants or something?
It's definitely clothing. But it
might be useful.
yeah, it's definitely some item
It's
of
a load of
clothing.
uniforms.
Yeah. Could be.
It's House Barragan uniform. That might be useful.
Yeah. It's like 4 House Barracan uniforms in a package that all fit us perfectly well.
What are the odds?
One is slightly larger than the other for the Volavant Appreciation Society over there. Just as
Really,
this is,
even if there's just House Barragan underwear, then we can say we're spies, and we're
Yeah.
really House Barragan.
We're really
when
undercover.
They search us.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't want to have
Brilliant.
to have
Yeah.
a scene where I strip you to underwear. I don't want that.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. No.
Nobody wants that.
Just as you're, as this is all unfolding, as Blake, you are currently verbally abusing yet another person in House Barragan. There is a fanfare of trumpets, and the doorway opens not far from where you are, William, having secreted the package about your person. The doors are flung open, and the envoy woman, your counterpart, the anti-smirk, announces, yeah, Baron Patrix de Luminux, noble house and ruler of House Barragan, and he marches in along with a side contingent of soldiers. And now I realise that I did previously grab a token off the other page just in case you needed it, but then you didn't see him. You didn't find Darvo Rund. I grabbed the wrong one. I need the other guy. Let me go and find him. And my mouse has fallen asleep because of all the excitement.
That would be
Oh
one hell of
no,
a
it's all
plot
gone
twist.
wrong.
Oh no.
He marches in, resplendent in his blue uniform. Again, more brocade, and one of those half capes. Do you remember those sort of like half capes that you get?
Yeah.
Ceremonial sword, but then also what is quite clearly a personal shield, and his protectors, unnecessary amounts of largely non-functional armor. Up there, redolent of Darien. Poor Darien. He marches up to you, and well, he'll go over to you, William, because you're the closest, and he looks at you and says, Ah, Obscura, isn't it? I understand there's an invitation for me. You have something for me? Where is it? I demand it now.
I'll gesture towards Blake. You have the invitation, don't you? Still?
I'll be floating down the corridor to him as quickly as my little legs will to carry me.
I won't say anything. I'll just wait and look at Blake as he's like floating towards us.
From the distance.
It's on the way. I'll be here.
From House Obscura, Blake, I am Blake, envoy Smirk, and here is Ventak Corrado and Sergeant Brava, and this is William, Pilot Tarosh.
And this
finally we meet.
I'll say, I understand this is probably way too short notice for you, and you probably won't want to come to this thing anyway.
He snatches it up.
Just drop this invitation with you.
As soon as he has his eyes on the invitation, he pretty much sort of like mentally blocks out everything and anything that you're saying and sort of like eyes it, the sort of like guilt sort of exterior. He just seriously, you expect us to come to this exhibition that you're holding?
No, not at all. Not on such short notice. Sorry, we didn't get it here sooner.
And why have I been invited with but an hour to spare? This is an afterthought, isn't it? This is an insult.
The Contessa regrets that there was a terrible mistake in the original delivery of your invitation. We are here to rectify that. As a manner of apology, she has sent some of her upper members of staff to bring you this invitation, for this opportunity to attend this prestigious, once-in-a-generation event.
Alright, this is a communique. D3 daunting.
Woohoo! Let's do it then.
Because he'd like nothing else than to cast this at your feet and order his soldiers to escort you out of his house.
That's what I'd really like as well, but...
yeah, me too.
So communicate, I am going to use duty because it's not what I want to do, because I feel like I'm being a sacrificial lamb here. He's being a bastard. And when this all kicks off, he's going to blame it on me, and I can just feel it, so... Smirk's not happy about that, but he's going to do it because he does his duty. So I've got 2 dice, I need at least 3.
Well, there's momentum in the pots, and you can get an assist.
I'm going to use 2, I think.
Yeah.
Who's good at talking?
Can I assist by looking really contrite?
Suitably hanged up. Well, you've got to do the roll, and then we can see if the assist comes in afterwards. But
nearly there. Using focus. So what have I got here? I've got diplomacy and persuasion. So both of them are good.
Both of them are fine. Yeah, and you need to be leveraging any personal traits to maybe bring it down from a D3.
I'm gonna stay with my lack of flap. I'm unflappable.
Take it down to a D2 then.
Because he's trying to intimidate me with all the soldiers and all the trumpets and just being an arrogant bastard, so... I'm gonna not be flapped.
Okay.
Can you just use 1? Is that how that works?
Can you use 1, sorry. I was thinking of other things then for
Trait to lower difficulty.
You can use more.
You can use more if they apply.
I'm not sure. Let me just have a quick check of the house ones.
Artistic and discreet.
Really fancy invitation.
Yeah, but he hates artists.
Yeah.
It does mean that our invitation, like our event, has more, right? Like we are credible when it comes to putting on an art event. Like this isn't just some farmer house putting on an art event.
And there may be something we can add about like an audience with the Emperor, like to be in the same room and saying something like...
Well, that's why he's so hacked off.
Sure.
But no, I'll accept the argument about artistic, so we can lower it another difficulty level.
Nice.
Okay. Is it only D1 now?
It's now only D1, where you stand to gain some good momentum, and you might be able to use it to build assets or obtain information, so it's well worth doing.
Okay, let's do it.
Do it!
3.
Nice.
Whoa!
Nicely done.
So I'll get my 3 back.
You do.
4 successes.
Yeah. You know, he listens to you, but in a way that suggests that he's just changed his mind of his own volition. And he looked just ready to sort of cast this invitation into, well, around the fist is, you know, like one of those open air barbecues with fire going in it. Because
Yeah, nice.
that's what this place would have, and he was about to cast it into there, into the flames, and instead he brings it back to look at it, and you know, he seems for the Emperor, he's saying, an audience with the Contessa, that is what you are offering me. I accept, and I will join. I may be fashionably late, he says.
Sure. Whatever. No, I wouldn't say that. That's what I'm thinking in my head.
Yeah, we get
Very
the
good. We'll be
thoughts of
pleased
the
to see you at the event.
Yes, he eyes you.
We've got the most wonderful art on display. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time.
He gives you an obsequious smile. Ah, yes, art. I will enjoy that. A moment later, a rather flamboyant-looking woman comes out of the same doorway that he appeared to. You imagine this is his consort, and she says, Patrick's darling, where have you been? And she virtually sort of, you know, scoops her arm under his, gives you all a look as if to say, who the hell are you? And then kind of sweeps him away, and they kind of like utter the most nauseating sweet nothings to each other as they cross across the foyer with a contingent of guards behind them, one of whom peels off and stands next to your counterpart, the anti-smirk, making it clear that you are free to go.
I'll do whatever the super cool signal we decided on beforehand for us all to turn around and leave it.
Spin at the same time.
Yeah.
That could hardly have gone better.
Reservoir Dogs music plays. as well.
Yeah. Yeah, cheerful bunch, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. It's not all that bad.
I
I'm
was,
gonna keep an eye out for housekeeper Randolph on my way out, so I can like scare him.
I was
a
a bit surprised to see how lovey-dovey they were in front of their own really tough guards.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a subtle flex. Who knows?
Could be.
Okay, so you are escorted out. By the time you're escorted out and you're back into the Ornithopter and you get through the horrendous flight restrictions, you are having to fly straight to the art gallery exhibition. Time is out. But you have apparently secured the Baron's appearance at the exhibition. So we would see, you know, as soon as you get out of the flight zone of the Barragon's territory, you radioing in, probably it would be Sergeant Marlowe, wouldn't be sort of like radioing into the sort of like flight control and registering your immediate path straight to where the exhibition gallery is. Now you'd wanted to arrive there early. Instead, you arrive just in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time, actually, for a quick cup of tea, and then we'll head straight to the artwork.
Yippee!
Cleared
Exhibition
for
time.
immediate landing. Yes. Be right back.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
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 I specifically went back last week and saw Dune in the theater again. They were playing it near me.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so I just got like a refresher in the theater.
You've been watching
I said
Dune
it was
again.
super loud. I watch Dune every day.
It's like Sonatogen, one a day. Daily Dune.
Dune a day keeps the Sardaukar away. I don't even know what.
I was going to go with keeps the Gom Jabbar at bay, but yeah.
Oh, I like that one. Oh, both.
Why didn't we bloody record that? Pithy.
Well, I blame the recordist. I mean, who else can we blame? Really?
Yeah. No doubt.
I didn't say it was your fault. I said I'm going to blame you. That's
That's a very subtle distinction. I appreciate it.
it is very very political.
We exited that scene rather hastily. And I took a momentum of decay off you already, but actually you did gain an asset and you might have wanted to have made that permanent, so let me put that momentum back. Bloop. And ask you, do you want to make the package you managed to inveigle from the housekeeper, House Barragan, do you want to make that a permanent asset, take it with you?
Can we flash back to the flight over and open said package?
We can do that too if you make it permanent. Yeah, otherwise it's going to be confiscated.
We don't get-
possibly.
Oh, because it
Sounds like
disappears.
we don't get to
Okay.
know what it is unless we
No.
make it permanent. Yeah.
Would you like permanent
Well,
pants or
yeah.
temporary pants?
Yeah, let's have permanent pants. We can always sell them on Dune eBay
Yeah.
afterwards if it's something that we don't want.
Veritas's Christmas present.
Okay,
yeah.
so
But that will significantly. It's 2 points of momentum.
and then
Well,
one.
And then 1
then
point
why
of
doesn't
decay. So
well,
that's
why
we
doesn't-
start with 3 points instead of 6 or 5.
Five.
So.
well, then why doesn't Tiran use his passive scrutiny to find out what's in the package in this scene? Because he can, and we can decide if we want it permanent or not. Then you've still got it for the next scene, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's in that package?
It appears to be it is a pressed uniform, crisp house uniform of House Barragan, and judging from the insignia, it's from the analytical wing.
Nerd uniform.
Veritas will be interested in that. Should I add it to my character sheet for now? Because we'll get it back to Veritas, or does anybody else want to carry it? Or,
But the question
like,
is,
technically we'll probably just leave it in the ornithopter for now, but...
do you want to make
Oh,
it
wait, we would have
permanent?
had to go back to our house. We would have had to go back to our house. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
true.
You've flown
I
straight
think having
there
that...
because you have no more time.
Well, did we at least bring our waiters' uniforms with us and stuff?
Oh,
Otherwise,
you would have had all that, yes. Yeah, you've got that. That's already been
Okay.
packed up
We all-
for you.
Yeah, we all take turns changing in the back of the ornithopter. I assume on the way
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
We're all,
grab the wheel.
Yeah, take the wheel. I gotta change. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the way over, or have one of our assistants. I mean, we're, high up enough in staff.
don't
We have a
know.
staff member who can bring us a uniform. We can change and then, go on to the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna be a major sticking point.
Well,
They're not
I don't
gonna-
know.
we're not gonna show
How
up in
important is
dungarees.
how important do we think this uniform's going to be for later?
Today,
Two members
not
and-
very, but in general,
Nice.
we could... Down the road, it could be a great thing to have.
All right, we'll keep
Make
it.
a decision. As a character, I've no interest in it, and I probably didn't notice you pick it up.
There you go. You can put it in your sheet.
Alrighty.
One of my favourite things about Blake is his communication's so high and his understanding so low. Say anything, know what it means.
Speak first, ask questions never.
Yeah.
In that case, you arrive at the exhibition space, and you see, the car park is full. There are ornithopters of all sizes and shapes and with insignia. There is what looks, there looks like to be a battalion of Sardaukar outside the art exhibition space itself. The security arrangements are significant. There are banners. It's all been dressed up exactly as specified, probably by what are their names? Barry and Chuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, have been busy. The exhibition space has the house colours, but also those of the Emperor as well. And it's a buzz of activity, sort of like outside as you sit down in your designated parking zone and are waved in into land. And you can enter.
They're not far off, are they? The colors of House Carino and House Obscura are not far off.
Not far off, yes. They do complement each other. Maybe that's
subtle enough.
Suspicious. So you've got changed en route. You're just on time. You can enter through that back entrance into the back of the exhibition space, and you can hear as you walk in, go through security, etc., and sort of like walk into the to the preparation space where the art was being held securely before. The intervening door into the exhibition hall itself is closed, but you can just hear the volume of casual talk going on behind. Like that room is now buzzing with life. Of course, you know that all the art will be covered up right now for the grand reveal, but there's an air of great expectation too.
3.
Why does that covering the art make me nervous? Why does that fill me with
Yeah, me too. Someone's drawing moustaches on everyone.
Let's head over to the gallery.
Yay! I've got my champagne ready.
So I've popped you into the rear exhibition space, and you can see I've lightly populated the exhibition space because there's nearly 50 guests, and I'm not putting 50 counters in there. It would be a mess. So I've put in some key figures that you knew were to be there, and there are plenty of other guests and attendees, and we will populate who else is there if they're significant. But there's a good crowd of nearly 50 or so sort of like people there right now. Conspicuous by their absence are the Contessa and of course the Emperor. They're going to be are due to be making their grand formal entrance. But you have a few moments right now as you enter the scene, as you enter through into the sort of preparation area, the back of the exhibition space. What do you want to do?
I can't wait to see what this looks like because it's not loading for me.
Same.
Oh, don't worry.
I'm getting a black square.
Yeah, it's just a big black square for me. I'm sorry,
So
unfortunately.
my favourite part
But-
of Roll20 is playing with settings.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ah,
I don't know if it's the performance
Yes,
of my browser or if it's the.
yeah. No, I will have just.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I will
It's
have
come
just
through.
forgotten to press the vision button. I mean, why don't? Oh, I should have set it to default.
There it is. Oh, look at you. Oh, outstanding.
William should be able to see it. And
Yeah, that's it.
yeah. And
Hey.
you see it now.
good now.
Yeah. So you're in the backspace here,
Mm-hmm.
and I have just populated
Thank you.
some of the key figures, and then you have to use the theatre of the mind to imagine the host. So you can just hear behind the locked door, or the closed door rather, you know, the murmur of conversation and anticipation as people are awaiting the arrival of the Contessa and the Emperor.
Emperor of a known universe.
What would you like to do?
Oh, I better go talk to Veritas again.
Well, let him know his invitation. The invitation to the Baron was delivered.
Yeah, in less words.
And
so-
accepted.
Mission accomplished, as it were.
I'll grab some sparkling wine from William on the way in.
Yeah, I just have magically got a tray from somewhere, and I'm like, I'll
Yeah.
go around like hovering.
Yeah, laid out in the back room, there is a full kitchen sort of like set up. You know, there would be a chef and staff. You're not the only waiter there, and you're all in the same outfit, you know. And the maitre d', who doesn't know that you're not a member of his team, is already berating you, William, for being a bit late, and is handing you a massive tray of vol au vents, which probably Tiran looks at longingly.
Yep.
I'll actually step.
Yeah.
I'll actually step in at this point and be like, this particular waiter is helping Veritas and I this evening, and I take a vol au vent.
I follow you out with the tray.
And the maitre d',
Why-
you know, just nods at you deferently, and then his eyes soften towards you, William, and he stops being such a dick. And you can drift into the exhibition space where there is really quite a hubbub. In fact, I think I might have a little picture somewhere. It's always when I say that I then have to hunt around. Yeah, but you know, the scene is something like this. You know, the great and the good all in their finery, their dress uniforms, you know, flowing dresses and really, you know, quite outrageous statement jewellery, and there's the tinkle of glasses as people sip their champagne and wait in eager anticipation of the main event. As you drift in. And you know, Veritas is just leaning against the wall of the triangular pillar in the centre, sort of like here, looking a little uncomfortable in his full artistic director outfit, making small talk with a few people, saying, well, I do hope you enjoy the exhibition. Yes, the execution of the vision of the artist is sublime. And then he looks over and sees you appearing, Blake, and a look of relief on his face, because this is your job to go around appreciating people, not his.
I best at least greet Irulan on my way past, seeing as she's actually my boss.
Yes, and she nods at
So-
you. She doesn't seem interested in talking to
Everything
you.
going well? Alright, if she's not interested,
She's
I'll
not
just,
interested in
you know,
talking to you.
Greet her.
She nods. Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, she gives you the eye. Yes, I've seen you. You're here.
Yeah. I'll do just enough to be polite, and then on my way past Veritas, I'll be like, your guest should be on his way. And then swan off, I guess. Get on with
I mean, he just gives you.
duties.
Yeah, he gives you a nod, and there's a glimmer in his eye of appreciation, perhaps. Either that, or it's just a bit roomy. You're not sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna head over to like where Talia is and like offer her a drink, but catch her eye so she knows that I'm like, you know, disguised as a waiter and watching her back.
I seem to remember she was quite well disposed to you. Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Not
really
Tiran,
well
she was
disposed to me
Tiran.
because, like, I deliberately used Mentat powers to, like, put her at ease. So, but
That's
right now I want to
right.
ask Veritas if we, Spymaster, have we heard back?
Please
on
don't
our
use
Kanly
that term
Omissia
out loud
application?
again.
Damn!
Art director, art director Veritas.
Yes.
Sorry, it's on your name tag, so
Yeah.
Oh
so
no, you broke him.
I'm sure you didn't say that. It's fine. Yeah.
so is the Kanly Omissia application.
Well, you will be glad to know that at the last moment we had concordance from the Imperial Legal Council. I believe he's here somewhere, and he sort of like looks through the crowd, but he can't see them. Old chap, tall, very dull, purple robes of Imperial Council. I believe it's all in order.
Fantastic.
A triumph.
Aaron should be attending, perhaps a bit late.
Oh, it's been so subtle as well.
Yes, I got that message. A little late. Well, another coup. Your team has really excelled. I see big things for you in the future. It's important.
Thank you.
So who's on
Okay.
observation? That's William, right?
It is. He's
No, it's me. I was just going to tell
It's you.
I was just
Okay,
going to tell
well-
our art director that I will get to work.
very good.
I was gonna say I'll just sort of work the crowd just systematically unless you point me at a place where I need to be because you're the observer, so I'll rely on your direction.
Okay. So you start working the
Similarly,
crowd.
if you find anybody being unusually suspicious, let me know.
Of course.
I see Sergeant Brava Marla has probably made some security inspections and
Yeah, the first thing actually Bravo wants to do is actually take a tour outside the perimeter. He'll want to walk the perimeter and make sure he's seen every door, every window. He knows who's on the outside guard, and then he can focus on the inside.
Yeah, there's a considerable contingent of Sardaukar on station alongside your own contingent of men. There seems to be sort of guard competition here, and you can't help but catch yourself and admire
Right.
their bearing.
Oh, absolutely. They're terrorizing. They're terror troops. These guys they're legendary. And I do have that same sort of meeting with my troops. Like, you are not here to engage them. You know, it's that now I forget his name. It's the Tommy from Peaky Blinders. What's his last name? It's Tommy. Anyway,
Don't watch that show.
Tommy
it's
Peaky.
terrible. Yeah, right. He says, "No fighting, no fighting,
Yeah.
no effing fighting. This is not what you're here for. You're here to protect these guests. You're here to serve the Countess and do her proud. So you will serve alongside them. Make sure everybody's on the same page. And
Yeah.
be, checking in with them.
Yeah, and you've got that message, and there's just a bit of an uneasy tension, but you're able to sort of break that a little for your troops and remind them of what it is that they're there to do, and they focus on the task as
Shelby.
you make your
God,
way in.
why couldn't I remember that? Tell me Shelby. I couldn't remember the name. I totally blanked it.
And as Smirk starts smoozing, and as Tiran, you start to observe and become familiar with who's around you and how they're interacting. We'll just focus for a moment on William, because you've approached, if I remember correctly, Talia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's just, chatting about, at the end of an anecdote about what it is like to be the resident artist stationed on Arrakis for 6 months. It seems to involve her giving a lot of explanation for how for the heat and the oppressive nature of the desert, but then also the severe majesty of the environment. And she's just coming to the end of a long anecdote about being an artist on Arrakis to someone you don't recognise. Yes, you can catch her attention.
Yeah, I just, like I said, offer her a drink and just catch her eye so she knows that I've got her back. I don't really engage with her,
Okay.
but I will just like that mosey around and earwig and just keep her ear out about what's going on, what people are talking about and stuff.
Okay, great. So the evening has started well, still awaiting the arrival of the Emperor, and no one is allowed to see the art until he arrives. He doesn't do second viewings, everyone has to wait on him, and he appears to be late from the sounds of it, but mostly guests at the moment are happy, well served. But perhaps this would be a good moment to ask Tiran, do you want to do an observation?
I was just thinking, I'd love to know if anybody seems like they're anybody other than Talia, or the art critics, seem like they're there to do anything other than appreciate art, or see and be seen at a high function at a high society event.
That's a great question that sounds like the use of an understand skill to me.
Yeah, let me see, where'd my character sheet go? Oh, it's run away completely. Oh dear. Let me open it again. There we go. And okay, and I've got body language,
Yes.
which I think would apply as a focus.
Yep.
And what's our difficulty that we're looking at?
Well, Great Expectation 2 is going to be problematic, make things more difficult when it comes to sort of persuading and communicating in some way. But the fact that it's crowded, one, is more of a problem in terms of getting in the way of observation. So that ups the difficulty level. And this is challenging, difficulty 2. So that brings it up to daunting, difficulty 3, just because there's so many people about. So anything you can bring to bear to reduce that would be helpful.
So I've got empath and perceptive.
Certainly perceptive. I think empath might be more problematic just for the sheer weight of people.
Yeah.
It would be like tuning in to a football crowd.
Yeah, it's hard to empathize with that, but yeah, it's hard to
Empathize with the crowd.
to figure out what that many people are feeling at once.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings it to difficulty 2, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
So
you have got 3 momentum though, and I've got some threat. So let's put that on the board.
drive.
I'll put it in the lake.
I'm going to say it's duty. I honor my obligations because I'm acting on behalf of the house. Trying to keep.
Yeah.
I'm trying to observe, which is my official role. So I'm going to use 1 momentum for an extra die.
Go for it.
And the focus of body language applies.
Ooh. Not as favourable as you would like. No complications, but you've only got 1 success there. Not quite enough. It's unless you want to leverage something.
Is there any way we can assist, or is it a thing he's just doing on his own?
If you can come up with a plausible way of doing it, then I'll hear you out, and you could do an assist.
They're also
Well,
observing
I think-
the crowd. So
Yeah.
would they be able to...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I was saying earlier that I was doing.
Yeah, so if you're drifting in
Moseying
and
around.
out with the drinks and moseying, you then might be able to surreptitiously draw Tiran's attention to something notable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I use... Is it understand again?
Understand would work. Yep, absolutely. Or you could use communicate. Your choice. As you're sort of gently serving drink for you, madam. Vol au vent. These are delightful.
Is there any way of using discipline? Like keeping focused and, trying to keep, trying to keep focused.
Yeah, no, I think
Never
so.
used it yet.
No, you could use
That's a skill,
discipline.
and I've never used it.
Because you're
Yeah.
having to, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot to get in the way. There's a lot of noise and focus. Yeah, so discipline. I can buy that.
And then for drive statement, I guess I would use.
So I used 1 momentum, sorry, so I need to put that
Yeah.
momentum away, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just chuck it over in the grey space. Nice.
What do you do if none of your statements really fit?
As long as they're not in an
Closest thing.
opposition. As long as they're not in conflict.
Okay. So I could use like power comes at a knife's edge because, this whole thing we want to keep our.
If this doesn't go
house.
well, your house is going to be persona non grata.
Screwed, yeah.
So yes, power is at a knife's edge.
Okay. I'm going to use a focus of observe, but I've only got 1 dice anyway because it's an assist, right?
It's an assist, yeah.
So, 1 dice. 1 success, okay. Well, there we go.
And that brings it up to 2, which was what was needed. So how do you indicate Tiran?
Well, have I seen something? Because I would be doing
Yes.
like you say. I'll be going about listening out to people. If there's anyone or any sort of maybe a conversation or somebody that I think looks a bit shady or is doing something a bit shady, I imagine that I have a subtle signal. Or do we all have little earpieces in so we can talk to each other?
It would be a signal.
Whisper.
Technology has been severely curtailed as part of the security suite.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Alright, so I have a little secret sign language that point to it.
You briefly, as you are sort of passing the tray around to a little cluster close to where this woman is, you just get the tail end of the conversation, which is, I told you I came here and I will have my time with those Obscura people. That's what I'm here for, never mind this art. You just get the end of that snatch of conversation, and you can sort of direct Tiran over to a group of people where...
Yeah,
this
under
woman
the
is.
tray I'm like...
Yeah, yeah. And you focus in, and between you spot this young lady, and she is suitably richly dressed, but the hang of the outfit is not quite right. It's like whereas everyone is in couture, fitted to them, tailored, hers is more off the peg but very expensive. She's in a little cluster, a little group who are talking.
I'll hover around the cluster and offer them all drinks and whatnot.
And they take that, they don't notice you. Actually, you could do...
Beanbag, madam.
Oh, it's that new kind of vol au vent, the beanbag, yes. It's like a Mau bun. It's shaped like a little steamed dumpling. They're very fashionable.
Wow. Like a bag of caviar.
Yeah.
So yes, you've identified what you were after. Someone who seems to be there not for the art, but more for other ulterior purposes. But there's so many people here. There's a lot to pick up on.
William seems to have their ears on them pretty well. And also they're standing relatively close to where we set up that recording device, if I recall.
Yep. Because that's placed around this, probably is a little raised dais here, where this sort of ostentatious, large seat is placed, but where the Emperor will be holding court, so to speak.
I'm going to shuffle back over to Art Director Veritas and ask him who that particular woman is.
And you can use your mentat, having caught.
I can't. So if I
describe them, can't you? Really perfectly.
Yeah. So I could. Essentially, who's the woman in the fine dress that doesn't quite fit?
His eyes flicker for a moment as he seems to be going through the guest list, and he says that would be Varia Torres, I presume. And he does a little double check. Doesn't quite fit. That doesn't sound like Varia, then. I don't think they're all they're supposed to be.
The dress is not quite fitted correctly. And William overheard her saying something suspicious based on his hand signals. I haven't had a chance to find out what.
They might need to be discreetly taken to one side. I don't think they are who they are supposed to be. I don't think that really is Varia then.
Very well. I'll keep an eye on her for now, and I'll try to get William. Perhaps you can stop him on the way through the to the kitchen.
Very good. Good work.
I'm going to saunter out to where I can keep eyes on Varia.
Okay. What are you up to, Blake? What are you up to, Bravo?
Well, still working the room, I guess. Would you have told me about this suspicious?
No, because we're keeping everything. We're not. I mean, you are standing right there. So if you would have cared to listen, then you would have probably I wouldn't have tried to keep it from you if you were trying to listen.
Yeah.
Want me to persuade her into a back room so Brava can beat her up?
Not quite yet.
Damn.
If there's someone pretending to be someone else, if there's a face dancer at this party, security needs to know. That's a big deal. But Brava will be actually wants to see if he can engage Talia at all, and has a question about her time on Arrakis.
Engage in combat.
Oh, Sergeant, she says, she's got a flute of champagne just topped up by William but a moment ago in hand, and she's she's sort of like, she'll probably drape herself on your arm, probably in not too salacious a way, but everything under control, I trust.
Absolutely. I just came to see if there was anything you need, and if not, I wanted to ask you a personal question about your time on Arrakis.
Oh, I can't need for anything. I'm well taken care of, she says, and she sort of like sips at the wine. What? You have a question? What is it?
I've heard stories about the desert people. I know that they say there are only few of them, but did you have any interaction with the Fremen while you were on the planet?
Not personally, no. I mean, I heard of them. Frankly, my dear, I spent an awful lot of time looking at sand dunes and various desert scenes and painting them. I didn't have much contact with other people.
Understandable, and I look forward to seeing your depictions.
As to why, when is the Emperor arriving, she says.
As soon as I know, I will inform you. I feel we're just waiting on some last-minute security details. I know take them very seriously here. We just want to make sure everything goes correct. Everything goes right.
Of course. She drifts over to another little crowd and starts talking to them about art, and just is trying to keep the room going, as people are growing a little more impatient and the expectation grows.
Ooh. I thought something to do. I might go talk to Sarah Roshan's. See if she's got any plans to murder anyone. Just drop it into conversation.
Yeah, you can head over to her, and actually as you approach you see someone else who rather sort of like stands out, who is talking to Sarah Roshan right now. Let me just pop them on. They were always there, but there's a crowd, so this gentleman, older gentleman, Imperial Legal Counsel, by the looks of it, by his sort of like robes, is deep in conversation with Sarah Roshan, but as by the time you wend your way through the crowd to make your way over, it seems the conversation is over, and Sarah has a piece of parchment in her hand. It's like she's just been served a writ. And she looks like she's just been served a writ.
I'll engage her in conversation about the gallery then, I guess. Although it's hard to talk about how much you appreciate paintings when
they're not even on display yet. No, but you can,
I talk about the atmos. Wonderful atmos here is the tension is palpable. Everyone's like, just.
Yeah, she slides this document into into a jacket, and she listens to you talking about how exciting it all is. And she says, it's a little anticlimactic for me at the moment. She's almost like peeking underneath one of the covers for the bit of art, but I'm sure it will be well worth the wait. Yes.
It's always best after a bit of anticipation. Perhaps we can get you a drink. Sort of wave over a servant.
And a William
Everything
Tarosh,
okay?
William Tarosh lookalike comes along and with a drink. Could be William for
Take
you
the
know.
bottle.
Oh, look at that. Cheers.
Cheers.
She says, she sort of like taps her jacket and she says, everything has to be okay, doesn't it?
It does when an event of this high profile going awry. I'm sure you'd agree.
I'm bound to, legally, she says. I don't care for it.
Really? Did you have some other plans for the evening?
She looks around as if searching for someone else, and says,
Stay in like field of view.
I haven't seen them yet, but if I had the opportunity, yes, let's stop talking past each other and dancing around. Are you involved in this? And she brings out the Imperial legal writ, like a gagging order.
I think he always looks stony faced, but I think he like puts on his serious eyes. Yes, quite frankly. Were you involved in trying to initiate a duel in front of the Emperor? One of the most prestigious events of the generation.
She smiled. I only reached the conceptual stage.
I thought you wanted to stop dancing around the issue and speak plainly.
I just did. Would you like me to put it into smaller words for you?
Yes, please.
I thought about it.
Well, that's a burden you can relieve yourself of. And perhaps just enjoy the evening. We've got a wonderful selection of wine. Possibly some rigorous art for late.
Well, I do enjoy rigorous art, she says.
I'll look forward to discussing it with you. Can I get you another drink?
Please, she says. That all seems like it's going swimmingly there.
It does, doesn't it? I didn't have to roll anything.
No, sometimes you need to roll everything.
We're just getting smashed tonight.
Yeah, just getting smashed. I think it would be at this point that sort of like finally the Emperor Shaddam IV arrives, arm in arm with the Contessa, one Sardaukar with him in dress uniform. After all, he's got a standing bloody army outside, so he would dare. But nevertheless, he has a token bodyguard. He has his personal bodyguard with him. And, you know, also a gaggle of cronies, a retinue of Imperial toadies, hangers-on, and supplicants, and so on and so forth. But he arrives with a considerable sort of like fanfare. The audience, you know, and the assembled guests who have been chattering, bickering, and so on and so forth, all hush as he makes his entrance. And let me just pop them on. I'll just have them instantly appear where they need to be. But they would the doors would swing open. You would see the Sardaukar outside, you know, sort of peeling away, sort of like almost forming a sort of like corridor. The red carpet laid out for him. He arrives arm in arm with the Contessa, which is an interesting statement. With all his sort of like retinue as they sort of like enter, and the crowd sort of like parts, and as he and the Contessa make their way together to the formal seating area. I'm just going to shuffle things around a little bit just to make some space. And there is the equivalent smirk announcement. Although actually no, maybe smirk. Maybe this is your job, or maybe this is
Might be Irulan's job, mightn't it?
I think it probably is Irulan's. Yeah, Irulan is in mid-pronouncement before you get a chance to think about whether or not you should be doing it.
I mean, to Roshan, well, her delivery's good, but I always feel like she lacks a certain flourish,
Absolutely.
Is that the Emperor played by Jose Ferrer, or we have Christopher Walken in the house?
It is
Oh, it's a nice mix. That's not bad. Oh, I like that.
He just exudes presence. Sort of like a mixture of austerity, soupçon of arrogance, and confidence. And the Contessa, she is on his arm. She just sort of like exudes a sense of triumph. That she should have this privileged sort of like position in front of so many assembled great and the good of the Landsrad. And then there's this guy, his personal bodyguard, who is just looking daggers at anyone who looks potentially sort of like threatening, and is standing quietly sort of like to one side, his arms crossed in front of him, just boring holes into people. There's a long series of pronouncements. There's a lot of formal introductions. Skip over that bit. But eventually, the Emperor himself, summons forth Talia and the Raal, and he says, I have been very much looking forward to seeing this artwork of yours. And he sort of like snaps his fingers, and the Chuckle Brothers are deployed, and the artwork, all pieces of artwork are simultaneously displayed as the discrete mechanisms function. The lighting changes ambience in all of the areas simultaneously. Music is piped in, to sort of like suit the atmosphere, and everyone starts surveying the art. The Emperor sits exactly where he is for the moment and makes small talk with the Contessa, and everyone is gazing at these large paintings of desert scenes. There's an awful lot of burnt umber, yellow ochre, and similar to be seen, but they are astonishing representations of the Dune landscape.
I'm going to take advantage of the attention being predominantly on the art to make my way as discreetly as possible to Sergeant Brava.
Yeah.
And tell them that Horus is not who they say they are. And I'll nod in the direction of Varia.
Yeah, right at this moment, she's having a chat with Talia, Norel, and a little group around, and they're asking those kind of questions like, so, what was your inspiration? And asking her about her experience of being the artist and so forth. But Varia is at the back of that group and doesn't seem at all interested in asking Talia any questions, but she's just there, and she seems to be looking through the crowd for someone else.
And I whisper to her really quietly, who are you looking for?
Watch her spill her vol au vents. Yeah.
I put the vol au vents right in front of her. To be looking for somebody.
Ooh. I feel this is a communicate. Made more tricky by the circumstances, but you can certainly have a crack at it. Is there something you're wanting to get out from her? Obviously, who you're looking for, but
yeah. Like, obviously, she's not looking for Talia because she's right there. She's not looking for the Emperor. I've heard her say she's looking for like that Obscura lot, whatever. So, that'll do if I can find out.
Yeah,
what she's looking for.
Yeah, make a communicate skill test to see if you can persuade her to answer you forthrightly.
What's the difficulty?
It's daunting. Difficulty 3.
You need some communication assistance. I can slide along.
Yeah, it's not my forte, communication. And I'll leverage the house trait of discreet to keep it really quiet. I'll give Blake a subtle nod.
Secret signal.
Yeah.
So that'll bring it down to difficulty 2, challenging.
Okay.
And this is a whole zone that we're in. You've got the back. Why I'm gesticulating the screen, I don't know. You've got the back part, where you have your preparation area. This is one zone, and then the art exhibition is the second zone, and the Emperor's dais is a third zone. So if it comes to any conflict action, those are the zones that we're in at the moment. I mean, technically there's a fourth zone which is outside.
Okay. So it's a difficulty 2.
It is now. Yep.
So I use communicate. I'll use duty again because it's the same sort of thing. We need this all to go right.
Yeah.
I'll use a focus of observe to see the reactions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How are we doing for momentum? Have we got any?
2 in the pool, literally.
I'll use 1 for an extra dice.
Yeah.
3 dice, but I got a assist from Blake as well. So 2, okay. Blake can give me an extra.
Yeah, might be able to get some momentum back.
Just 1 dice for an assist, sorry. It's been
it's just 1 dice for an assist, but you can still specify a focus.
Focus.
And trait.
Yeah.
Blake has a trait that he could use.
Is the trait you could use?
Got savvy, maybe.
Yeah, well, actually, the difficulty applies to you, and it's already been set, so I don't think you can leverage a trait now on an assist.
Focusers, I've got a few. I've got diplomacy, persuasion, or even composure. If you can use one from a different. So.
You can use focuses from different areas. Yeah.
Persuasion probably covers it.
Yeah. They're They're all fine. As long as you've got a relevant one.
Hey.
Perfect. Hey.
Nice.
Nice.
One
Ooh,
back.
squeaked in with a 15
Okay.
and a 16.
Thank you.
Nice. So that's one back then for your momentum. She says, I'm on the lookout for the envoy, she says.
The envoy.
Indicate which one?
Yeah, which one? We know a lot of envoys.
Yeah, her eyes slide over to Ambassador Irulan.
Okay.
I need
So she
to
says
speak
that
with
anyway.
her. But I'm sure I'll get the opportunity at some
Okay.
point, she says, after taking in the art, she says.
I'm sure that I could get you a private word with her.
That would be most agreeable. Somewhere discreet, somewhere private.
The old
Where is
bait and switch.
Yeah, I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is to get her into the back room and then find out what she's actually on about. Because conveniently, Irulan's right by that back door.
She certainly seems
So
minded to accept. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll say, you know, like, give me a second and I'll give you a nod if she's willing to meet with you. And then I'll pass by Brava Sergeant and give him like a discreet, keep your eyes on whatever's going on at the minute. And then I'll go down and really quietly say to Ambassador Irulan, there's a lady over there who calls herself, is it Varia? Well, Varia. I don't believe that's actually Varia. Do I know that? We pass that information
Let's
around.
assume that information is shared amongst you.
She is saying she wants a private word with you, but I think if we can get her out of this main room, like with your help, then we can find out what she is actually like, who she actually is.
Well, shall I simply beckon her over to the chamber behind us, she says. If that suffice.
Does Ambassador Irulan look like she knows Varia, fake Varia, when she looks over at her?
She's struggling to see her sort of like right now. She sort of like cranes around you. And of course, there's a seething crowd. You must imagine the greater the good, all hubba-bubbing and looking around the art and the use of the arts. There's the background noise and everything. So she sort of like manoeuvres and jockeys around. It takes her some time. Eventually, she claps eyes on her and she says, "I'll be honest with you, Tarosh. I don't really know who this Varia Toria is anyway. So I couldn't tell you if she is the right person or not."
Okay. But she didn't have any look of recognition in her of that actual woman. Not Varia, but that woman.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Well, that's cool. Then I'll look across the room and assume that Varia is like looking out for a signal. And give her a signal to come over.
Yep.
And hopefully, maybe Brava might see that signal as well.
Well, I'm as soon as I see
Brava.
Varia moving, I would just have
Yeah.
Brava.
Yeah. And you start wending away the other. Yeah. It's like a beautiful sort of like sequence at a dinner dance, sort of like gathering of agents moving seamlessly in coordination, like a smooth sort of like unit. Spymaster Veritas just sort of like this, sort of sitting, watching this all go on around him. As Varia approaches and she catches sight of the ambassador, so her look intensifies. But she's
on her way.
Yeah.
Sorry, as she's on her way, I will explain really succinctly what is going on to Brava.
Yeah.
So he's aware.
So you're all on the same
don't want her
page.
to get all the way here and then.
Yeah, you've got time for that because she's trying to weave her way through the moving throng, and people were just stepping in front of her, going, "But look at the counterpoint of the lighting on this scene," and all that kind of stuff.
Burnt umber.
Burnt umber. There's too much yellow ochre in this one. Lots of detailed.
I can hold her up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a certain beauty in its austerity, in its darkness. It's quite beautiful. Yeah.
Did I find?
What have you got?
I did have something, but I've lost it now.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright. I'll blame you on Steve.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yes.
And blame both of you. Yes.
Exactly.
I feel attacked.
And all the other Steves aren't even.
And
here.
all the other Steves.
Oh, yeah, just all the Steves. No, I've lost it.
There was.
Oh no, there it is.
Oh.
The artist's brush dances across the canvas like Fremen dunes, effortlessly conjuring the rugged majesty of Arrakis. Each stroke a declaration of reverence to the barren beauty that is both desolate and divine. So that'd hold her up a little bit.
Yeah, and then you find
Captain Flattery, I love it.
yeah, Saul Darian, the notorious Imperial art critic, at your shoulder, going, "Well, I have to take issue with that. I think you impose and are rather overly generous, Master Smirk. Is it?
Smirk, yes, Envoy Smirk.
I find.
And you must be Critic Darian.
I am. Yes, I am. I'm afraid I'm not quite as optimistic as you are as to the artistic merit of Miss Norell's creations. I mean, there's a certain naive beauty about them, I suppose, if I really was going to stretch things to their very limit, and that would be a stretch.
I see. Well, I think maybe you're missing the point of the art. I'm sure that maybe if you envision them all as a whole, then you would understand the narrative ties each piece together and transcends a single work.
You know, this is like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy doing art appreciation of Vogue and poetry, isn't it? Ode to a green lump of putty I found stuffed under my arm. Transcends the Vogonicity. It's what Arthur Dent does to try and get out of being thrown out the airlock.
Yeah.
I love it.
Right.
He's considering your words, you know, and he seems to be enjoying the badinage, but what seems to be happening is that there was a little gathering of art appreciators drawn to this critical debate that you're currently holding with Saul.
Like moths to a flame.
Yes! Oh, controversy! There's a critical debate about art going on. They're all
It's the
clustering over.
second duel of House Obscura.
The art
Yeah, we've got to make
duel.
Steve do a split scene somehow.
You have a duel while I'm in the other room trying to be diplomatic. That's perfect. Yeah.
Putting the screws on them. Yeah.
You know, and you know, as he's sort of like weighing up your thoughts, you know, there's a slim little chap next to him that you barely sort of like noticed, who seems to be another artist or an assistant to him. They seem familiar with each other. Who says, "Isn't it about time? You gave your. Isn't it about time? You did the deconstruction." And Saul says, "Not now, not now." And
He's not Jor-El, is he?
There's a little crowd forming. It's a little controversial, perhaps. And Varia is trying to make her way through this. As you clock her Brava, and Ambassador Irulan looks over to you, William, and says, "Well, I guess I'd better be in the back room then." And she heads on through, having signalled to Varia. So she's backing your play.
Cool.
It also has the benefit of being as far from the Emperor as we can physically be and still be in the same building, so that's also a bonus.
Yeah.
That is indeed true.
And while he smirks there, he can throw some hands. Well, he can't, but he can try.
So if we're gonna split up, I don't think we want to leave like Blake on his own. I think some of us need to talk to this phony person, but I don't want, because if the mysterious Varia is just like a distraction to what's going to go on in where the Emperor is, I don't like Blake to be left in there on his own. So who's gonna go with who? Like, I totally trust Sergeant Marlowe to question the fake woman. That's more his...
I'd like to make sure. I want to vet this before she speaks with her Irulan, if that's at all possible.
Funny enough, this isn't the first time no one's wanted to hang around her.
I don't mind. I'll come and hang out with you, Blake, if these guys want to...
That and our choices are interrogation or art debate.
I'm in the poetry smackdown zone. I'm into this.
You're in slam
Right.
poetry land. Yeah. With the Soldarian.
Garada, why don't you join me and we'll see if we can get to the bottom of this.
Cool.
Sounds wonderful.
And I'll head back to where Blake is and, hand out, go through the crowd with the tray of volivants and hand them out. Earwigging on the conversation. Because this is the fella that, this is the art critic that could ruin her career.
Oh yeah, this
isn't it?
Like,
And
that's
make room
it's just as important.
Just as important,
Oh yeah.
Maybe in a bit we can create a trait where we make him extremely drunk so he can't properly.
I'm going to position myself next to the
spike his
Volova
drink.
and make it look like I don't care what was going on in the room.
I mean, you're a
found the source of one
natural
of
at
them.
that. I think you're a natural.
I found the snack tray, exactly.
Brilliant. At this point, I'm just going to beg a brief bio break. And then we'll see what happens with these various little scenes.
You bet.
Yeah,
I'll be
he
back
needs
as
to
well.
think what to do.
Give you a bit of planning time. What we have here effectively are two potential social conflicts. One between Blake Smirk, William Tarosh versus Soldarian in the left corner, wielding his ego and his art critic knowledge. And in the other room, we have the unknown quantity of Varia Torres versus Sergeant Brava Marlowe, Tiran Corrado, and Irulan supervising. Who wants to start? Should we do the backroom scene? What do you think? Yeah? Alright. So,
Sure.
So Tiran and Brava. Varia.
I'm gonna see if.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna let Varia make the first move.
Alright.
She's the one who's supposed to be talking to Irulan about something. So I'm pretending to be engrossed in Volova, which again is not hard. as long as I'm in earshot.
Yeah, this could turn into
this is
a
a much more
conflict,
confined space.
but it doesn't have to. So I'm not going to go into full conflict rules yet. But Varia seems
Okay.
a sort of combination of sort of like grateful that she's finally got in a room with Ambassador Irulan, but also somewhat intimidated by the circumstances. Like, you know, when you finally get to meet the person that you've geared yourself up to meet, and then what are you going to say when you finally got them in the room? And Irulan is doing full Bene Gesserit impassive, you know, seeing through into your very soul, sort of like stuff.
They do it so well. Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Yep.
And
Can I read anything? Sorry, can I read anything about Varia's body language, demeanor, or even appearance and the dress that doesn't fit in terms of if she's a physical threat to Irulan?
Well, you could use that ability of yours, couldn't you, to obtain information? Why not?
Yeah, through passive observation. Yeah, passive scrutiny.
Yeah, you haven't had a chance to use it yet, so
Yeah, so we'll trot that out now.
yeah, go on. So you're wanting to know whether or not this woman is potentially a threat?
Yeah, not like right. Like, is there a direct physical threat to her posture? Is there possibly a weapon concealed under the ill-fitting dress? Is there a physical immediate threat? I'm not kind of concerned if she's like an espionage threat or something like that. I'm just like, does Sergeant Brava need to be physically close to Irulan at all times?
I believe you've got danger sense.
I do.
Yeah, I think that's kicking in right now because, yeah, I mean, you're seeing in the angle of her arms, you know, compared to how you were seeing her standing before. She's deliberately changed her posture, and that, you know, that shift that she's wearing, it's a little askew, but it's perfectly capable of hiding a multiplicity of weapons. You wouldn't be too surprised if she had some kind of short blade to hand.
I'm going to step over and not quite interpose myself, but stay handy.
And she's stumbling over words right now, Varia, as she sort of deferentially greets Ambassador Irulan. But then, you know, she's aware she's flanked on either side by Volivants and the military. And she looks left, she looks right. It's giving her pause for thought. And she says, it's very urgent that I'm able to give you this petition. There's been a rather difficult dispute. I need to present it to your house. I'll be most grateful if you could intercede for me. And she goes to put her hand to withdraw this document.
Bravo will take one big step forward.
and she freezes. And Ambassador Irulan hasn't got far to go, but she does step back, you know, towards the threshold. A hand not very far away from the mechanism to open the door. She just freezes in front of you.
Bravo will kind of engage in that sort of very police sort of command presence of show me what's in your robe, like slowly, like open that robe, show me slowly before things go violent here. We have an entire room full of Sardaukar and house guards that will not hesitate to take you out of the back. Don't do this. Don't make this our choice.
Okay, so this is pivotal moment. Either it's going to go well and she complies, or it might turn out there's no danger at all, or not. So pivotal moment. I've got a call for a roll. You're clearly imparting information and instructions, so it sounds like a communicate skill.
I'm wondering if it's this game or another game, but is it can discipline also be used for intimidation-related communication? Okay, just one.
Actually, Brava has a focus of intimidation in communication.
Perfect.
He yells a lot. He's good at this. He's good at this part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I will use communicate and duty.
And you're out of the zone where all the noise is, so you don't have that getting in the way and making things more difficult. So that's handy.
Great.
And
I am going to use one of those momentum die if that seems appropriate. What do you think?
Yeah, this seems important.
Got a couple there in the pool.
We've got two.
Yeah.
With a focus, yes, of communicate. Here we go.
It's a difficulty 2.
Well, I got 5. Is that enough? Is that good?
Hell yeah.
Nice. Okay, so that's 5 successes on that one.
Well, you pick up 3 momentum.
Pick up 3 more.
Yeah. Should I chuck them over? Let's chuck them over. 1, 2.
And I did not spend one out, so
you didn't.
It's actually one less.
So you've actually
I did not
gathered a lot of
move one
momentum.
up.
Yeah.
Great.
I think what happens is this. Is that she just shifts her robe around a little so that you can see her hand is around a document, but that her other hand has a short blade in it. And
awesome. We'll go to violence at this point if we want to cut the thing or we want to do this, because she has a knife in her hand. That's going to be a problem.
Okay, so pause there. Switch into the main scene. The hubbub of the exhibition is in full flow. The Contessa and Shaddam are very much. They've come down from the dais and are starting to look around and circulate and look at the art. Meanwhile, Soldarian and his Critical Appreciation Society are squared off with Blake and William, and this is a conflict. We're in a social conflict, so unless I want to spend 2 threat, and I don't, you have the initiative. So either of you can act. Who wants to take the lead in this social conflict? Who wants to start?
Are we going for the 2-pronged attack of winning the argument and also getting him wasted?
If we could get him wasted, that'd be brilliant.
Move the assets of wine into his mouth.
Into his body.
Zone.
What I was thinking I might do is go in the crowd in the crowd and hand out drinks, but be drop in undermining what he's talking about. You know what I mean?
You can do
that review. Yeah, did you see he wrote that review in that other paper that it was nonsense? You know what I mean?
So given that we were in a social conflict, we need disposition and intent. So, what's your goal here? What's your ambition in this social conflict? What do you want to happen as the end state for you to defeat him?
Well, It's more about what we don't want to happen, maybe. Because he's trying to, like, discredit Talia, right? And it's our job to make her look good, so we're, like, taking her side in this. Yeah, so we're trying
I want him to look bad.
So you could
Discredit him.
That's the two-pronged approach, I was thinking.
I get it.
Kind of discredit him.
So the combined sort of intent is undermine his credibility, make him look a fool, that kind of thing, but so that his attempt to tear Talia apart intellectually fails. Yeah, his disposition towards you is fairly hostile. He's going to raise the difficulty level by 1.
What does that make it? D3?
Whatever difficulty is going to be 1 harder because he is bringing in his hostility into the situation. He's
so can we then?
You can.
Can we then leverage our house trait of artistic, like we know? Well, at least Blake, because I'm just the waiter. Blake knows what he's talking about with art. He's from an artistic house, and he's the envoy of an artistic house.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So that means that we bring it back down to that sort of like neutral, sort of like territory, if you want. Okay, so Soldarian is a notable NPC. So this will be an extended test.
Okay.
Okay.
I think then it may be a good time to use that again in a scene.
You can create an asset such as blackmail
because it's already a conflict.
Yeah.
Which is like, to drop to the gathered crowd. You know what I mean? Which is like, like that. Or did you see that review that he wrote in this so-and-so magazine last year, and it was a shambles, and nobody took it seriously. And
so you could do that. You could take the first turn. You can create that asset. Before you do anything else, sort of like in this scene, have this asset to bear. But then it's a matter of moving it, or and moving doesn't necessarily mean the physical sense of the move, as it's sort of like to deploy your asset, or to
telling
leverage
other
your
people.
Asset. Yeah. So
it'd be like moving that asset into the crowd, I guess, like
absolutely.
the onlookers.
Yeah, you could do that, or you could. So that would be maybe more of a subtle way of doing it, or you could do it boldly by basically sort of like confronting him with it. It depends on whether you want to maintain the initiative or whether you want to, what you fancy doing.
Well, if I do that subtly and I do it, then we keep the initiative, and then
for free. Yep.
It means Blake gets to go before he gets to go, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then your asset of slandering his review credibility would be in play in a way, I suppose.
Yeah, it would be in the crowd or whatever. So, what's the difficulty rating for me to try and move the asset?
So the difficulty rating here, now you are in circumstances where there's a sort of like great expectation. I don't think that's so much sort of like in force, sort of like right now. That's more about sort of like smoothing this over and communicating and persuading people, that kind of thing, to sort of chill out. I think it's just the busy nature, the crowd is sort of like nature, makes things a bit more difficult. So we're looking at difficulty of challenging, D2, raised to daunting because of the crowd and the mass of people, so D3.
But is the crowd and the mass of people not also a benefit to us because we want to use them to pass the information around? That's like, if the crowd weren't there, we wouldn't be able to do it.
They would be, but I'm saying it's raising it because you've got such a sea of onlookers and people moving and fro. You know, if they were all of one crowd of one disposition, then I'd agree with you. But because of the massive mix, it's getting it into the right hands, the right people. It's made harder, so it's more difficult.
It's
We
a
got
D3.
plenty of momentum. You got this, Nick. You got this. Plenty of momentum.
Okay, so
You can even take 3 to
Okay.
get 2 dice if you want.
it's D3, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to move. I'm going to use my duty again. Because of all the... Oh, you know what? I can use power comes at a knife's edge because this is risky, right?
Very.
I get subtle step. I get the first D20 for free, and I'll spend 1 momentum to buy an extra one. So I've got 4.
Nice.
Of a momentum.
It is risky, which means you will get complications on a 19 or a 20.
Okay, and I'll use a focus of. I use a focus of stealth because I'm trying to do this like sneakily, right?
Yep, it's a subtle move, definitely. In this case, it's a literal subtle move.
Complication, 2 successes.
2 successes, not quite enough, but you've got a potential. Oh,
Can you assist each other in this still?
that's a great question. I'm always open
That would
to.
imply giving up his action.
Yeah,
right?
it kind of would.
Right, okay, but let's see. But I can also then use something else to give him another action anyway. Plus, if we succeed, we would keep the initiative, right?
Yeah,
For 0 cost, you can keep the initiative if you're moving subtle. That's through the standard.
All right. So, if Blake assists me and we pass it, I can get you an extra turn, so you don't actually lose your turn.
Yeah. Sure. So what am I rolling for that?
so you've got a
Does it depend
single.
how I'm assisting? Or?
Yeah, it
How are
depends
you
on
gonna
how
help
you want to
basically?
assist. Yeah, how are you going to help? Because it's just a mass of people having to negotiate the pockets of those who aren't interested in this and those to whom this asset would be useful to show. You've got to find a way
Could
of.
it be maybe discipline, like just not getting flustered, and you know, if I'm like under attack by this guy, giving me his like best artistic dissertation, like I guess that doesn't really help with spreading a rumor. Communicate might be more obvious.
I think
suppose.
communicate is probably the best.
You
skill.
at the back.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Yeah.
What was that?
You get out of
you
the
can-
way. You over there.
Yeah.
That's
Laughing
right.
at
That's,
the way- laughing at the
that
way
review in the
you know,
new landscaper was terrible.
Yeah, you can imply that there's harsh criticism in that some of his criticism in the past has been quite harsh.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that meshes with what William is spreading.
Yeah, go on.
I guess I'll go with duty to make it easy.
Yeah.
What must be done, must be done. That's 1 dice because it's an assist.
Well, it is. It does put you head on with this guy. What must be done? What must be done?
yeah. Get in.
Oh, yeah.
Smirk's on
yeah.
fire tonight.
Brilliant.
Oh, you needed that.
Nice.
Well
we get
done.
1.
We needed that. Well done.
back.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good at role playing again.
Okay, so your subtle
And
move
then-
has triumphed. You can move your asset in the way that you want, and that's getting you closer to an attack, I guess. And you keep the initiative without spending
Yeah.
any momentum.
Yeah, so that'll be me like whispering in the ears of certain people in the crowd about how useless that guy is and doesn't know what he's talking about. And then I'll use this. So once per scene, you may command an ally or subordinate to act you know, I'm not really commanding you, but I sort of hand it over to you to, you know, listen to that guy. He knows what he's
Kind
talking
of
about.
tee it up for them in the conversation, sort of thing.
Yeah, nice.
So you can do your action, and then I can assist you as well.
Right, so would I need to move this asset of unfair reviews from the crowd into our little argument, like between us two, and then attack him with it?
Well,
or
I think
can
that's what. Well, William, it sounds like
What I've done, right?
Yeah, that's what William has done. Has moved it to be available to you. So yeah, no, you. I mean, what you need to do is kind of like move it to where you need it with Saul, either boldly in his face or subtly. You know, you start to share these harsh reviews with his cronies around him.
But like in my mind of zones in this, there's like the little zone where me and him are, where
Yes.
things can be used in an argument, and then like the crowd outside that, and then
Crowd
whatever
outside it, yeah.
is going on outside of that. So either I could move that asset in and attack him with it, or I could maybe like create something of my own. Then I'd have two to bludgeon him in with. But
It certainly makes, you know, because you're in an extended conflict here, you're going to have to, you know, sort of like rack up
Skip to attack.
some sort of lead
we have
to
control of the
attacks.
crowd, so I'll create my own one. But would I be able to create it straight into our argument in that case, in a way?
Yeah, you can.
All right, sweet. So what I might do is just an awesome defense in an artistic style, and to like just, you know, carry on with our critique slam down.
So that will cost 2 momentum, or a momentum and a threat, to create the asset.
Okay.
And it sounds like you're creating an asset, something along the lines of damning critique of, you know, I mean, he's an art critic, but he's also an artist, so you could sort of like do something like, you know, you have to be good at art before you can critique art, you know, something like that, a bit of a, and
I was just going to meet him head on at his own game. You know,
Yeah.
he's critiquing the art, saying it's shit. I'm just going to come at it from the exact, because I'm not going to back down to this fool. I'm
Well,
just going to
and
beat
your
him
end
at his
goal
own
is-
game.
And your end goal is to create an asset?
Yeah, I think that's how it works, isn't it?
yes, it can be.
Well, you have options.
You could do that.
Well,
You can target assets, you can create an asset directly, you can... In intrigue, you can move, you can attack. Is he ready to attack in terms of the asset's positioning?
Not yet, no.
Got
Yeah,
it.
let's
Okay.
carry on this thread. So
Alright.
I'll create this asset of like a critical defense of the artwork,
Yeah.
and I'll create it in the argument zone, so then we control the crowd and the argument if it goes well. And I was going to use determination to make a trait of art critic for myself,
Oh, yes.
because I've been...
Ooh.
Because I spent all that time talking to Veritas about postmodernism and impressionist cubism and all that sort of thing.
You could certainly do that, and that would lower the difficulty sort of like rating, because it's a challenging level of difficulty made worse, so it's daunting, which is
Yeah,
difficulty 3.
alright, I'll do... Do I do that now?
Yeah.
If I want to do that? Because I do want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had 2 determination for some reason, so now I'm down to 1. Unless there was a clerical error, but I'll check that later, I guess. Do I put this trait under personality traits, or is this go somewhere else?
With it, you're creating a trait for yourself of art critic. It's a personal trait.
Awesome art critic.
All of that learning, the flashcards in the office, you know, and the serial
Yeah,
all
yeah.
coming together.
inspection, you know,
I spent hours in there.
hours in there whilst the Mentat was doing God knows with the Volivants, is all coming to, you know, you find yourself, you know, it's almost like you hear Veritas's words echoing in your mind as you just tear down his criticism with a critical defense. I love it. Well, let's see how well it executes.
So I'm going with communicate.
And the drive is
Duty, I think.
Yeah.
This is just part of the job. How many dice? I've already spent 2, right? What's the difficulty? I should probably know that first, right?
Well, you've got the trait now, courtesy of the determination, so it's reduced it down to 2.
Okay. So I better spend another momentum for a dice at least.
Yeah, make
Sensible.
sure.
I kind of struggled with the other previous conversation. Can I get an assist with this, or did we?
You can get an assist.
I'll assist you.
Okay.
But
Cool.
you need to do your bit
So that's
first,
3
and then
dice.
the assist kicks in after.
Because part of the
Okay.
direct talent allows them to then assist you.
Yeah.
Oh, groovy. Using focus. Let's see what I got. Can I make an argument for composure? Because I'm in an argument and I don't
That's a
lose
focus.
my cool.
Yeah.
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 Perfect.
Because the eyes are all on you.
Hey.
My.
Go on.
Oh, the
What have I
dice
got on my
love
list
you
here?
today, Blake.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Blake's really good at talking. That's his whole thing.
So bottom line,
5
what does this
successes,
look like as, in front of the crowd with all his groupies behind him, with the Emperor just in earshot? What is it like when you rip into this critical defense?
Oh yeah, he's got the arms out, it's like slowly spinning around, making sure he addresses all corners of the room and everyone can hear about it. In fact, he's talking more to the audience than to this art critic, because he's beneath his notice and he's a bit of an arsehole. So, did I have some bullshit written down? Each grain of sand seems to whisper secrets of ancient civilizations lost to time, while towering rock formations stand as silent sentinels guarding the secrets of Arrakis. And what are the spice? And then he goes on,
And elements of the crowd who weren't interested in this before and were just making things bloody harder start applauding your words. Yeah! And you get a round of appreciation as you dramatically sort of launch into this critical defense. Brilliant. So
Now, do you still want the assist dice just for more momentum, or do we want to not risk complications again and leave it at that? We've got 5.
it's 1920 on complications. So
it's up to you. I'll leave that decision for you, Nick.
Let me check. I always forget. What can I use discipline again?
yeah,
Keep
you're having to
cool in the
hold
crowd.
your cool in this pressure, as you're witnessing
So-
the splendour of the smirk.
I like the idea it's getting rowdy in this art house.
Yeah.
So everyone's got to try real hard to keep it in.
1 dice. I'll use the focus of observe again to watch out what's going on.
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on everyone. Did I get another one? Hell yeah.
Outstanding.
Okay,
Got
so-
2.
Wow.
Get 1,
You've got an extra
and then
one.
another one that we can't spend.
Yeah. you've got to
That we
decide
can't
with
bank. So can we? Is there anything we could obtain of information with that? Is there anything that we need to?
If you want to, maybe if we can offer one with a point of threat, we could make a trait where he's on his back foot or something. Like you could apply a trait to the scene.
Yeah. What I'll do then is, I won't give a threat, but I'll use.
But spend
that
2.
momentum.
Yeah, do that and another
Yeah.
one
You can also just.
to create a
Do
trait.
you need the trait for your move? Is that, or do you want to just create a trait?
Just for funsies.
I think we should want to create
Yeah.
a trait. I think, right?
Yeah, and make him vulnerable.
Yeah.
So
make
then
your
you
own-
can
Top up
save
his
the
glass while
momentum
he's not looking.
and do a you can do a roll.
Waiters keep
you can
topping
do,
up your glass, even though you don't want them to.
Yeah, I do. Get there with a full bottle. Go on, Tiran. What were you saying then?
Yeah, you can do a difficulty 2 test to create the trait directly without spending momentum.
But isn't that another action?
It's another
I've already
action.
had my action.
That would be your action, yeah. So
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
want the trait to apply to this action, then you need to spend the momentum, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll spend the momentum. So
think that's why
we
we were-
make him vulnerable. He's losing his
He
rep.
is. He's losing the crowd, and you're gaining
like
support.
Self-doubt. You know,
Yeah.
Ooh, put a little kernel of doubt in his mind, like, oh,
Absolutely.
maybe I do just hate
Absolutely.
everything. Maybe when was the last time I created any art of my own?
Yeah.
You know, like,
So long.
Did you
Maybe
say
I'm just a
something nice?
bitter, awful person. Yeah.
maybe I just shit on things for a living. Maybe I just like,
Nobody likes me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Send it
actually
into the
unhappy
wilderness
with
with Dolph.
myself.
And we're on a knife's
Turn that
edge with two different conflicts at the same time. This is a fight for the soul, the integrity of the soul of the art critic Soldarian, and potentially the life of Ambassador Irulan, because there's someone with a dagger at close hand, and Brava Marlowe's there, and he seems to be pretty good at scraps. So I think this is a good point to call it, and come back to us next time, and we'll see what the hell happens in the next episode.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, okay. We'll start mid-scene next time.
Yes,
Love it.
Yeah.
on a cliffhanger, double cliffhanger.
Love that.
Yeah. Brilliant.